So good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Meet the Suppliers evening. We have Norman and Linda from Occasions Cake Studio. We have Susie from Pout Photo Booths.
Pouts Out.
Pouts Out, that's it. I knew there was another word I was missing. We have Simon from Arrow Vintage Cards, who will be helping me interview this evening. We have Simone from Bespoke Proposals. And we have Caroline from Music by Violin. Is that right? I've got it right? Yes, got it right this time. So welcome all. Welcome back, Linda and Norman. We missed you last week. So what I want to do is just let you introduce yourselves one by one. And if at the same time, if you can just give a little brief history about who you are, what you do, and where people can find you, like your location. So I'll start with you, Norman and Linda.
Well, hi there. My name's Norman and my wife Linda. We both look after Occasions Cakes Studio, which is based in Grays in Essex. We offer a service of providing you with a wedding cake, birthday cakes, and also we're a supplier shop where we supply other cake makers with baking ingredients. So if you want to make your own cake, you can come down and we can help you with your advice. But basically, wedding cakes is one of our main things that we do. We've got cakes on display in our shop. We've got a website, we've got a Facebook page, and we've got Instagram. So you can keep in touch with us through any of that sort of media. And also we're always putting out offers for people to come down and have a look. We offer free cake tastings in our shop as well, normally, but at the moment, what we're doing is we're offering you a service where we'll get some sample cakes together, come down to the shop, collect them, take them home and enjoy them in your own home. So it's a safer environment, and we can always have a discussion over the phone or Skype or any other form of media if you wanted to talk to us about anything. It's been a testing time for us during the last sort of few months, like everybody in our industry, but we're sort of like struggling through it ourselves, and we've managed to sort of like keep hopefully the community going as well, because during the first lockdown session we were offering people a service where we were delivering flour, the baking essential ingredients. Some people took us up on it, and I think Andy helped us out a little bit. He took a few off. And we were doing about 50 deliveries a day during the first few months of the lockdown. But unfortunately, then the supermarkets reopened and got their supplies back. But we still have all this stuff in stock as well. Right.
Is that what we need to know, Andy?
Yeah, we'll come back. No, that's brilliant. Well done. Susie, what about yourself?
I'm based in Colchester in Essex. And we supply a Pouts Out photo booth, and we've been in the business for since 2016. My husband bought the business from half of the business, and then at the end of 2018 I said, oh, why don't we buy the rest of the business, because it was dwindling. And we changed the name, and the previous owners used to live in Norfolk. So most of the clientele was Norfolk and Suffolk. So we've brought it down to Essex and Suffolk now. And we've changed the name, changed the logo, put some packages in place. And we're doing really well with the wedding fairs from 2019 and spring 2020, and then COVID hit. So yes, it's sort of like abrupt stop to all the excitement, meeting all the new parents and couples.
Yeah, no, I think we can all relate to that. Oh, it sounds like there's a telly on somewhere. Okay, so Caroline, I'll come to you next.
Hi. Yes, my name's Caroline Patrick, and my company is called Music by Violin. I'm a professional bespoke wedding violinist mainly. I do other events, but it's probably about 90% weddings. I cover all over sort of Essex and Kent and London, providing people with entertainment for wedding ceremonies and reception drinks while they're having, drinks and photographs taken, and also for wedding breakfast to keep the entertainment going. So, and I play a vast array of different types of music. I have a vast repertoire as well. That's a little bit about me.
Perfect. And Simone, over to you.
Hi everyone, I'm Simone from Bespoke Proposal. What can I say? I'm a florist. I specialise in bridal flowers, artificial and fresh. I supply lots of decor for weddings as well, a massive hire range. We've been going for about 6 years now, going from strength to strength until COVID, but let's not talk about that at the moment. We have a lovely, beautiful shop in Grays in Essex. You can have appointments at the shop to view everything and see everything in person. Obviously, like a lot of other people, we've got a website, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and the name says it all, bespoke. It's all tailored for you, basically, in a nutshell. So I won't go on too long, guys.
No, don't be silly. We got plenty of questions to come around and ask you all anyway. So Simon, just introduce yourself, mate. I know you was on a couple of weeks, but people might not have seen it. So over to you.
Thanks, Andy. Cheers. I'm Simon from Arrow Vintage Cars. We're a vintage and classic car hire company based in Fobbing, very close to Basildon and Grays in Essex. We hire vintage and classic cars, Art Deco style, American style for wedding hire mostly. We also hire quite a lot for film, TV and promotion as well. We're on every social media platform. We have a very engaging website and we're very approachable. So if you need some more information, feel free to get in touch. And Andy, please tell us about you.
Oh, really? I think people know now. Yeah, so I'm Andy Thomas and I am the owner and head photographer at Chic Wedding Photography. I should say video at the end because we do lots of that nowadays. Yeah, and we are based in, we're based in Grays, but our business comes under Brentwood. So you'll find us at our office there. And yeah, we just cover weddings. Well, we did. But we also got a studio now. So as soon as lockdown lifts, we will be at our studio. So yeah, but like I say, I mention that a lot. But so what I'd like to know, and just sort of to get us going, is I've set myself a couple of lockdown projects because being a creative person, which I think we all come under, we're all creatives in our fields, and I just struggled just sitting around doing nothing, run out of box series to watch on Netflix. So I mastered parts of Photoshop that I'd never had to venture to, and set myself little sort of projects. So I just want to know yourselves, what did you do? Did you have any lockdown project that you got your teeth stuck into, or did you alter the business? I know Norma mentioned there that they become a delivery service, and my little boy loved it because we made lots of cakes together during the lockdown. Saved his sugar fix. But yeah, so I'll start with you, Carolina. Did you do anything during lockdown? Anything different?
Yes, I did actually. It's obviously been difficult with not many weddings last year. I probably did about 11 or 12, and normally I probably do about 70, 80 weddings. So very quiet. Obviously I'm homeschooling my children, but I actually started to do a project whereby I bought some recording equipment and a studio in my conservatory and started recording CDs for couples who have already had their weddings and wanted a keepsake. Which has really kept me really busy and on my toes. So a bit of a perfectionist, so it's taken a little while, but it's all up and underway now. So that's been brilliant, you know, and people are asking now for Valentine's Day and also for birthdays and anniversaries. So kind of a little bit of a change, but no, it's really, really good.
I absolutely love that. What a great idea and a great sentiment for the couple to keep.
Yeah,
so it's
really,
perfect.
really good.
So Linda and Norman, have you? I know you become an elf over Christmas, Norm. But anything else kept you going?
Anything else kept me going? Basically, we've been fortunate in some respects. Is that we've been able to stay open. We've instead of doing wedding cakes now, we've been doing lots of birthday cakes, but they've been smaller because obviously with the amount of people can have. So we've managed sort of to get through that. We've carried on doing birthday cakes. And some people have actually been having on the day that they were supposed to be getting married, they've had a small cake just to sort of get the date in their minds. And we've done little models, made little icing models of the couple wearing a mask, you know, just as a little just a little thing for them because it was going to be their day, but they're postponed. We've had 140 150 wedding cakes postponed and cancelled from last year to some this year, and now they're cancelling to the following year. So, but we managed to keep surviving, just doing birthday cakes and keeping them able to keep the shop open as being sort of like a bakery. We've been able to do that, so that's been really our aim. We haven't really had too much time off to sort of ponder, really.
The difference being, though, normally all our cakes are for the weekend, but now where people are at home all the time, they're having them every single day of the week. So it's a little bit different, really, which is quite nice. We're working every day, so, but it's just different scenarios. I'd rather be doing weddings, it's a lot nicer, but but birthday cakes are fine. All right.
Norman, Linda, can I just to take you back to when perhaps times were different in 2019? Can you tell us what some of the more kind of popular style, shape and sizes of cakes were that people were kind of looking for, that perhaps they would have had in 2020 and probably will do this and next year?
Yeah, I think a lot of the popular ones were the naked cakes where they didn't have icing on, so they have like the fruit and that on. They were really popular. A lot of rustic we were doing in 2019, which is, I don't know if you can see one, there's one up there, but it's like sort of more rusticy looking and bigger flowers. They liked big flowers, and this year, well, what was 2020, it was going to be a lot of bling and a lot of shiny stuff. That was what was very plain, not a lot of colour on them now. They tend to be keeping them a little bit plainer now, which is quite nice. So yeah, that's the colours. So
I photograph a hell of a lot of, what is it? Forgive me if I get this wrong, but nude cakes, is that right? Naked cakes. All right. Yeah, they seem to be extremely popular.
Yeah, I think people have gone off the icing and that. It's a little bit harder for us because you have to do those right at the last minute. So you can't work on them. They have to be done the morning of the wedding and then delivered like that. So it's but they look nice with the fruit and the colours and the flowers and everything. They do look colourful, so it's nice.
When we take bookings for those, we have to be a little bit careful because we have to consider the venue, especially in the summer, because it can be too hot. If it's in a marquee, it'll be very, very hot. So we have to advise the bride and the groom as to whether we think it would be suitable for the venue. But if you've got a nice air-conditioned venue, them sort of cakes are fine. But if you've got a hot, sweaty sort of like a place, it's not so good for the cake. The butter will start melting, and that's when you might see some of the cakes sort of like not look at their best, so to speak. And some of the fruit might not be so good either, especially if it's sitting in the market all day. So we have to be a little bit careful. We have to advise the bride and groom as to whether we think that we'll be happy doing that as well, you know.
Well, it's funny you say that. I don't know if anyone was tuned in on a Friday, and I was talking to Jenny about a wedding that we did together that was in a ridiculous weather. And that particular wedding, they was sort of doing the speeches, and while they were doing the speeches, we was watching the cake just do this because it was so hot. Yeah. In the end, we had to cut the best man short and be like, look, they need to get over to this cake and cut it with a photo before it's not an option. So yeah, it's a lot to consider, I think, like you say.
Well, we've got a big climate change that's going on as well, so that doesn't help. But fortunately, touch wood, we've not had any of our cakes topple over, as far as we're aware. We do get a lot of good feedback. We get a lot of good stuff come back from the bride and grooms. And also, once we've done their wedding, normally we might get the christening, we might get the birthdays. So it all follows on. If we've done a good job, we like to think we're very personal with what we do. We keep in touch with everybody. We're sort of like, we like to make people feel welcome when they come into our shop. It's a little bijou little place, so we like to make people feel welcome, and we try and help them relax. And I think that helps us out when we actually talk about them, and whether they might come in with some ideas, and we sort of say, well, that's not quite going to work, so then we'll change it around. And normally it's pretty good. We're pretty good with that.
Yeah, no, exactly. So Simone, have you had any projects down there at the bottom corner?
I will be honest, from lockdown last year, I always said that I run a business, but when everything come to a grinding halt in March, I actually realised that the business was running me when I actually stepped back and had a break. So I'm being really honest, but I spent all my time with my family last year. I sort of, for a change, I put the business on hold and just done quality time with my family, because the business had pretty much run me for 5 years, and it wasn't till it all stopped I actually realised that I'd missed out on quite a lot of things. So I thought, right, we'll give it till Christmas, and then straight away in the new year, back in the shops, sorting everything out. We're putting together bridal flowers to start selling online, to go like all over the UK. We're putting together a home range as well of flowers for the home, in vases and arrangements and everything. And being a qualified florist, we're going to be offering Valentine's and Mother's Day, so that's to come. So there's lots of things in the pipeline now, but at the time it was literally just, let's just stop, get back to my family and recharge my batteries, because people that are in the decor business, you will realise when I say this, we are literally up at the crack of dawn. We do everything. We might have a couple of hours off, then we have to go home, do our family bits, and then we're back out between 11 and 12 at night, driving to God knows wherever in Essex and wherever. And then we're not crawling back into bed till about 2, 3 in the morning. And if we've got a wedding the next day, we have to do it all again. And I gradually could feel the burn coming, where I was burning out. So it's made me reevaluate what I'm going to do with the business in the future as well. So
I don't think you're alone, Simone. I think a hell of a lot of people in this world, not this country, took advantage of a unique experience and time that they're never going to get. And let's be honest, it was a lot more enjoyable, wasn't it, when the weather was that warm and we could all go in the garden, nice cold beer in the afternoon, and knowing you don't got to drive anywhere. And I sympathise with you so much there, because I would say we do 80 plus weddings a year, and once he started school, it was like, well, I sort of say goodnight on most dads would say goodnight on a Sunday, say hello again on a Friday or a Saturday, but I was still going out on the Saturday, Sundays. And I'd done the same as you. I sorted out the postponements I needed to sort out, but I turned him in from a singing and dancing little lad to an Avenger loving, fighting terror. So yeah, my work here is done and I'm ready to go back to work.
Exactly. But it does make you think, when you've got like a family with young children, it does make you think, hold on a moment. And that's what hit with me, because I always said the business was my baby, and it was, but it's like that was the favourite of my babies. And now I realise that it's a business and I need a cut-off time. And that's what I've realised now. I can't let it rule my life. I have got children. So it's just finding that balance, you know.
Balance. Yeah. And about yourself, Susie, did you get up to much?
No, I've got a 2-year-old. So last summer, my challenge was potty training, unfortunately. And I've recently gone into stitching stuffed toys from my daughter's old baby clothes. So she's requested a turtle. So that's started, but not quite finished yet.
Perfect. I'm intrigued. You'll have to share some of them in the group. I mean, I want to see what that looks like. So, Caroline, I appreciate it for what you bring to you mentioned in your intro there about the in-between when photos are being taken. Now, I think what a lot of people don't realise is how upbeat the music can be and what a party atmosphere that can create. Because reception drinks, they can be a little bit long-winded and it can be hard work to get people. Every time I've had live music during that period, it's gone quick and the buzz has been, and the whole atmosphere around the wedding. So just give an idea of your experiences doing that. Like what kind of music can people have? What's most popular in that period of time?
Yeah. Well, I mean, reception drinks can last anywhere from, generally they're about an hour and a half, Andy, aren't they? So around that's probably a good benchmark. So I can be outside. I want to play to the guests. I don't ever want to play to myself. So for reception drinks, I could probably have a couple of setups. So be performing, you know, I don't want to be sort of standing there playing to myself. So, but I can play pretty much anything. You know, I was classically trained, but I can play anything from sort of 50s, 40s, 50s, all the way up to kind of very modern chart music, Rat Pack even perform. Oh, even Disney. People get, I get requests from guests on the day, which is really cool. I love a challenge. But it's just nice background music to kind of keep guests entertained while the couple sometimes off, as you say, having photographs taken. It's just nice background while they're having canapes and champagne. So,
no, it definitely does change the atmosphere for sure, 100%.
Yeah, all sorts of music, anything really upbeat. I think the violin sometimes is, people stereotype it and think it's all classical and a bit stuffy. Well, no, it isn't. I play anything from, oh goodness, sort of Ed Sheeran to Elvis to anything Disney really. So it's very bespoke. So everybody would get to choose their own playlist as well.
Have you had any kind of really strange requests, Caroline, that perhaps you weren't necessarily 100% comfortable with, or thought this isn't going to work in a live kind of arena?
People get asked for football anthems, West Ham, I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles, or it's just sort of quite quirky sometimes. The groomsmen as well, when they first all come in, they go, can you play this, can you play that? And yeah, I can play by ear as well, so I could just sort of play a few bars, and it gets people chuckling and kind of relaxes guests as well, so that's quite fun. But no, nothing. Well, I've had some weird and wonderful requests, maybe a bit of Eminem, bit of rapping, and I would honestly say 95% is fine, but there will be the odd piece of music that's not playable on the violin, and I would always be really honest. But all my repertoire, is really handpicked by me and my couples. So I love it.
Obviously we're all experienced in wedding fairs. Do you ever find that you get that sort of smart chap that comes along with the bride, doesn't want to be there and just thinks, I'm going to try and catch her out, I'm going to chuck every song her way? Do you get many of those?
Oh, definitely. And they'll sort of say, have you heard of this song? And I listen to so many. I love rock music, I love all kinds of music, so they kind of spring things at me. And I say, well, give me a minute, let me just hear a few tracks on YouTube, or so I'll have a little listen and then generally be able to play them back. But yeah, it is mainly sort of brides, sort of the men sort of come along, and they do look like sometimes they don't want to be there, rather be watching football at home, if I'm honest. But when they hear it live and they can hear it for themselves, a lot of time they engage, and there are, they then ask for me for lots of different types of music, which is great.
Oh, perfect. Simon, we've got a question coming in. Before I lose it, I just want to ask you, someone's just asking for advice on how to pick the right car. And you can tell us how they book. Is it by trip or is it by hour?
Oh, it's good. Really good question, actually. There is no right car, I don't think, as long as it's something that you like the look of. Tastes have changed over the years. We've spoken a bit about that before, that tastes of 30 years ago are nothing what they were like today. Nowadays the transport is more about the size of the car and how many people they can get in it, and whether that car themes in with the wedding. If the wedding's got a theme, a particular color theme or era, does it fit, does it work? We have quite edgy cars, or some of them that perhaps people think are a little bit Marmite, and bride and groom have come along and absolutely love them, but Aunt Flo couldn't stand it, and so they went for something else, and that happens quite a lot. We charge for the day, so there are lots of other companies out there that have sort of very confusing pricing structures. As most of our lovely friends here know, we've been in business as a wedding car hire company since 1987. Was our first wedding, was May 1st, 1987. So we have a lot of experience, and we know that pricing structures have to be simple. It has to be simple. It has to be straightforward. No hidden anything. So we just have a price per day. That's it. There are no mileage, no nothing else to add on. That's it. And we are very competitively priced because we are very lucky in that we've got lots of cars, lots of choice. We don't need to be the kind of one-man band that needs thousands for one day. We don't need that. That's not how we work. We want to do as many wonderful wedding days as possible. So we are very competitive, not the cheapest, but we are extremely competitive. And yeah, no, there is no right or wrong. pick something that you like, and as time moves on, Instagram and Facebook are incredibly important. Lots of people are booking transport to have the ultimate arrival for what it looks like on Instagram. And I'd like to think things like this, you know, very kind of Art Deco and even right up to date stuff, they still look beautiful. But have a look on our website, and say all over Instagram and Facebook, we post regularly because we're still very much open to all of our customers. And yeah, get in touch. Great question. Whoever asked that, by the way, thank you. Very kind.
Yeah, no, I've lost the name, but I jotted down the question. Linda and Norma, I'm going to come to you just quickly because it always sticks in my brain of what people request. Now, the last proper wedding that I did before COVID, the week before we went into lockdown, was the famous Ghostbuster house cake, which I must say was insane. It was so good. It's so good, I'm going to post a picture later on for everybody to see. But obviously anyone seeing that cake, it answers the question that anybody can have anything they really want by working with you. But what are the most out there things that you've done, and how do people go about getting their style and their idea to you?
Well, the Ghostbuster one, they came into the shop to do the taster and everything, and they chose a cake that they liked from the front. And then the bride actually emailed me privately and said, can I change the back of it? So the groom didn't actually know what was going on until the moment, especially with the handmade bride and groom at the top, which she asked him to be dressed as a Ghostbuster. So he was shocked, I think. So we do a lot of animals on there. Animals seem to be a big thing at the moment. Pets. They all want their pets on the cake with them. And we just recently had an email, and the lady said, will you get the colour right? Well, of course, we try and do the colour as much as we can. But it was a tortoise shell cat. So I said, you know, it will look like a cat and it'll be tortoise shell. But we've had them where the groom has phoned up and asked whether or not he can be put in the, say, West Ham kit. And then I very discreetly phoned the bride up and asked them if that's okay. So we do get some funny requests. We were due to do one this year that was actually their caravan. The whole wedding cake was going to be their caravan that they go in their summer with, but unfortunately it's had to be cancelled. So it's a bit of a shame, but hopefully they come back to us. So
I mean, novelty cakes are quite we love doing novelty cakes because they give us the ideas. We'll put something together and try and create something different. I mean, that's what we do. We don't do. We've got cakes in the shop where they sort of say, "Can I have that, but in a different colour?" But all our cakes we like to are individual. So when you go around, So we had one with we've done one with the Muppets on it as well. You know,
yeah.
The son was animal and the father was. They both had the animal heads. The drummer in the Muppets. So everything is individual. We work around it. If they've got something quirky, it's always nice to have something quirky that's personal to them on their cake. So sometimes it is a challenge.
But it's good fun. It is good fun.
It's good fun. We do enjoy doing them. Yeah. It is good fun, yeah.
Now, you don't know this, but I pay Sandra and Michelle more money to have a stand next to you because there's always cake on offer. Now, having said that, I know what my favourite is, but what would you say is the most common and the favourite flavours?
Yeah, I think at the moment it's always been lemon for a long time, which is why we take that to wedding fairs. But at the moment, it seems to be raspberry and coconut. Seems to be a big one. Yeah, and salted caramel.
Yeah.
It seems to be taking.
Yeah, salted caramel is one of my favourites, and the lemon. So what I always love is you say, Andy, come and try this because we've got a new one.
We should have been down here yesterday, Andy. We had a biscotti one down here today. Very nice.
Brilliant. And Simone, someone's asked what sort of time scale would it take to set up a full wedding for you in the morning? So what time should they allow if they say their venue is paid by hour? How many hours do they need to get really for you to be able to go in and decorate everything?
Yeah, see, it's a hard one really, because it all depends on what you actually are hiring. Obviously, if it's something that's just like a sweet cart, a post box, you know, just like some main items that don't take really that long, you know, it could be like an hour roughly. But if it's something like any decor company, you want chair covers, you want arches up, you want the trees up, you know, then you could be looking at hours for that setup to be done, and then that's without, you know, obviously all the bridal flowers being delivered as well on the day. So it does depend on, you know, the actual the amount that you order, but I'll, you know, I think the thing with decor, we do have good relationships with venues. I mean, they're always accommodating. There isn't really any venues that I can say that are really funny to work with. You know, they do allow us to come in, you know, and set up at a reasonable time. Especially if you've got a good relationship with them, you can usually like say, well, we've got all this, it's going to take us this amount of time. Usually the venues are quite accommodating with that, you know.
No, can you tell us about one of like your most favourite weddings that you decorated? So where, you know, the bride and groom probably had a lot of steer in the way that they would like it decorated with choice of flowers and arch and stuff. But where's one that you thought, yes, that's perfect, I can't better it, that's perfect?
Do you know what? I was waiting for this. That's the beauty of the business that I do. You can get as creative as the bride and groom wants you to get creative. You know, like weddings, we've had themes from Alice in Wonderland. Now, I mean, like they've dressed up literally, her in the blue dress, you know, him as Mad Hatter. We've had real fish in the centerpieces, in the vases. We've had a horse theme, you know, so there's like bales of hay everywhere, and I went and got trophies, like, and done the centerpieces with flowers in the cups that, you know, would be like that sort of theme. But I think the one that stands out for me is a Harry Potter wedding, and it was done so classy, and I'll never forget the bride had a pair of Converse trainers, and she got them hand painted, beautifully done, with like Daniel Radcliffe's face on it, and then the little goblin guy on the end, like on the other side. And she went to a theatre, see Daniel Radcliffe, and he signed her pumps for her, and she ended up walking down the aisle in these like Converse trainers, all bespoke done for her and signed by Daniel Radcliffe. As soon as she got out of church, she took them off, put them in a glass case, and then this glass case was in the venue. But the way how it was done, it was like amazing. The big teepee, my candelabras, and the potion bottles, and like the gold flying snitch thing, you know, that was like spinning round on like the like dance floor area, and it was outside and bonfires, and it sounds really crazy, but it was just amazing in like a forest. It was brilliant. So yeah, that's the thing. You can go as subtle or as your imagination goes, to be quite honest.
Fantastic. Love it. Sounds amazing. Sounds absolutely amazing.
Really good. It was really good. I mean, everything is just so unique, with their little touches. Even like we've had people have Lego figures in their buttonholes where they want to bring that into it. So yeah, you know, like everyone is just you just snowball along with it, you know, you just bounce off each other.
So I'm going to jump to Susie really quickly. So Susie, I get me words out. You and myself were the only ones that are probably still there, unless Caroline's booked for the evening, but we're sort of still there in the evening when things are taking that step up in tempo, shall we say, in a polite way. So I normally high five you on the way out. So I'm say good luck with that lot. I'm off. but Colin, you must have some good stories, obviously, of an evening. You must see the great stuff. I know Jimmy Lee had some good ones when he was on from his DJing. So, you know, if you've got anything that sticks to mind.
Yeah, with the photo booth and the curtain that comes across, obviously they think that it's private, no one can see, but where our screen is, we can see the camera. So we can see what they get up to inside the photo booth. So sometimes it does get a bit rowdy in there, especially with the lads. After a few, it's usually about 10 o'clock. It usually gets after they've had a few drinks and had a dance, got their Dutch courage. and they all bundle into the photo booth. Yeah, so we've seen a few try to get naked and get down to some naughties in the booth, but someone always ends up coming in, poking their head in, because they hear all the noise and they think they're missing out. So they come in like, what's going on? So they get photobombed even inside the photo booth. But yeah, there has been a few drunks, dads, the older people, nans, granddads, all stuff like, all of the old age people love the photo booth because it wasn't around. So when they were younger, and they just hog it all the time. Come on, someone else who's not fine to come in with me. And once they've had a few drinks as well, it can be quite amusing. We do have to help a couple of them out, and brides with big dresses, sometimes after they've had a few to drink, we do have to help them out because they don't take the photo booth with them.
I'm going to say I'm still scarred from where I've seen a inflatable banana with nans and especially with, if it's like a nan and a great auntie that have got together, and they might be in their 70s, but they are mischief. They are the worst combination.
They are the worst, yes, definitely.
When
they get to a certain age, they don't care, do they?
No.
No.
Sorry, Simone.
I have got one story, because we're there, like, we get there like 20 minutes before the wedding shuts down, and then obviously the time we pack down, we can still be there like really late into the night, like the last ones. And I won't say what venue it is, and we turn up at one really posh venue, and we could see all this commotion happening. It was like, what's happening there then? And the groom has literally ripped his shirt off, wanting to have a fisticuff with his uncle, and it was just all kicking off. And we get to see that sort of side to it as well as the happy drunks and the happy couple. You do get that side to it as well. And another venue, we turn up and the police were in the car park, so that was like a little bit, oh yeah, so through a guest being a bit too, but that happens anywhere, in any occasion. But yeah, it doesn't stop at weddings though.
Thankfully, I'm tucked up in bed by all that excitement.
Oh no, that's the thing.
So Andy,
gone to me. Yeah, okay.
Sure, mate. Yeah. So now that we know that you skive off earlier than perhaps people know, you just let that out. Is a good question for you. Well, one that I think we're all going to learn from, but perhaps brides and grooms that are watching it, this is useful for them to know. What do you think makes a good photographer, wedding photographer, actually? Okay.
For me, it needs to be somebody, and there's a lot of them, that can sort of be like what I call ninja mode. So they need to be there, but they don't need to be there. They need to know when it's their time to speak and when it's their time to disappear into the background. What I don't like to see, where we do video as well, I get sometimes a little spy on other photographers, and they just get the essentials and that's it. That's what I've been paid to do. I'm off. I'm going to go to the car. I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to do that. What I think makes a good photographer is the ones that just hovers. See, I listen. My staff who work with me, so the videography team or the second photographers, they always say, I just asked you something, Candy, and you've ignored me. But I'm not. I'm listening to what's happening, what's going on, and I just anticipate so for example, if I hear someone say, oh, where's so-and-so, and that so-and-so might be a close relative to the bride, I think, oh, something could happen there. So I'll hover and slyly follow and watch where they walk. And then that's where we get their magical moments. Little things like the evening guests arriving. So a lot of photographers out there, and this isn't me insulting anyone in any way, shape or form, they'll get to the evening and they'll see that as let's just relax. Let's just, the hard work's done. But to me, that's not. There's new guests coming now, and this is your second day of the job, if you like. And so I always hover by the door or wherever the bride is. The stories around the bride normally, no disrespect to the grooms. And a lot of that natural stuff. Other than that, it comes down to being relaxed. You must, as I said the other week, my advice is to get 3 photographers that you absolutely love their work. So it doesn't even come into question when you're meeting them. what you don't want to do is be trying to decide if you like them and you like the work all in one meeting, because you won't be able to do that. What you do is you find the work, you love the work, you meet with them either on Zoom or in person, whatever you can do, and then you're just gauging of how you feel with that person. Because we're going to be with you, and I always joke and say to the bride, you're going to see me more than your groom, so you better like me. and that's the truth. You are going to be with me all day. But yeah, there's loads of little factors, loads and loads of little factors. But yeah, I think just purely being in comfort with someone is key over everything else. I would rather see a happy, smiley face that's natural, with it being slightly overexposed or slightly underexposed, than seeing a perfectly taken picture with a really awkward face. So you've got to have that comparison. I hope that answers your question, because now you're putting me on the spot, because I know what I'm about to ask people.
Great, so, thank you.
No problem. You lost my trail of thought now. I was going to go to Susie and just ask about the photo booth. Roughly how much does it cost and what do you get with it? Is because someone's putting what's the average cost. And also like what's in the package? So is it guest books and things like that?
Yes, when we took over the business, I decided to make packages. We needed something different because there was a lot of photo booths out there on the market. So I went with personal, and to get your money's worth. So you want your guests to use a photo booth. So we come up with packages which include photo key rings. So on the print that you get 2 printouts. So we stick one in the guest book, which is included in all the packages, and one will go to your guest. And on that printout, let me just show, I don't know if you'll be able to see, that you get 3 little pictures. So the camera takes 4 pictures when you're in the booth, and out of those 3, they can choose which one goes in the photo key ring. So the guests have got something to take away with them as well. And they use them as favours, so they can use them on the table, so it gets your guests into the photo booth after the sit down meal. And also we offer like the Ferrero Rocher heart stand for Mr. and Mrs, Mrs and Mrs, and Mr and Mr as well. So we found that a lot of people were asking with the favours, do we do the tags? We didn't at the time, but now we do. So we only offer the tags to our clients that book the package, which include the photo key rings. The prices, our prices range from 200 and I forgot what the price was then, £275. It's been a long time since somebody's asked me that question. Yeah, it's from 275 for the basic package, and then it goes up. We offer 3 different packages. You get the green screen included, which is bespoke to whatever background you would like. So if you've got a theme, like we've had Harry Potter wedding, so we had the castle as a backdrop, and also Blossom was a big thing last year, the year before, so we had a lot of people having the blossom trees behind. So anything that somebody would like. We find that darker images don't work so well. It's really difficult to focus, but the lighter ones are really good. So any theme they've got, we would find a good quality JPEG, or if there's something they have, then we can load it up as well. So yeah, you would get that included, the personalised printouts, unlimited prints for the 3 hours we're there, props are included, and an assistant, which is usually myself, my husband, or one of the family, if we both can't be there.
So if someone was... oh, it's feedback there. I don't know where it's coming from. If someone was perhaps worried about venue space, is it quite compact? How much space do they need to allow for their venue? Should they be worried? Does it fit in most venues?
Most venues it would fit in. If it's a dated property, So the low ceilings and the Tudor beams, some venues we've had asked for measurements, which will give the measurements to see where they can position it best. And we also ask whereabouts they want to have it to, because when we set up, it's an hour before. So sometimes if it's really close to where they're doing the speeches, we'll say, right, we'll hold back because it can be a bit noisy putting the photo booth up. And we don't want to be put out of the way. We want to make sure that all your guests can get to us. So if anyone's got any disabilities, they've got access to get into the photo booth and out again, and that they can see us, because at the end of the day, they're paying for a service. If the guests don't know we're there, their guest book is not going to be very full of nice pictures and funny comments.
Yeah. So Simon, I'm just going to whiz straight over to you. And this is fantastic. Can't believe I've never asked you this. So what is the best conversations, and what's the conversation like between dad and bride in the back of the car? What a question, Victoria.
Yeah, I can't share it. It's a family show. I can't share it. I'll tell you offline. There's one very, very, very funny story. Nearly always, if I'm honest, with dads or whoever's giving the brides away, commonly the dads won't have any sympathy for their daughter's nerves at all. It'd be absolutely no sympathy. It's just, yeah, look, you've got to stand there and you look beautiful. You just got to say, yes, I'm the one that's got to do a speech. So park your ego. Commonly, it really is. Dads are the nervous ones. And with the bridesmaids' cars, if they've got their bridesmaids and ushers and other family members in the second car, it's always the bridesmaids that are the most calm, and it's bride's mum that's by far the most nervous, by far. Conversations are normally quite quiet. Normally it's lots of the bridesmaids make sure that mum's okay, and dad's having zero understanding for the nerves that brides go through. And obviously, I've not been a bride yet, but I would understand how nervous that is, to be on show. Nerves are really hard to get over, and we're very fortunate in that all of our our drivers and chauffeurs, they're really good people. So we can placate nerves. We can, we have had a couple of brief changes of mind that we've managed to talk back into. It genuinely has happened on that journey. It really has. Or is this the right thing I want to do? Is he or she the right person? It absolutely has happened, and we are well trained and well versed in turning those frowns upside down. So yeah, good question. Yeah, so there is a very naughty one that happened quite a few years ago, and maybe I'll write it down one day, but I'll tell you later. Yeah, worth hearing, definitely.
We'll have that when we come off live. Before we quit the Zoom, you can tell us. So Caroline, can you just tell us a bit more information about what people book? So what do you offer in terms of packages and times when you can come in? Can you be there all day maybe and doing different bits? And what's the most popular booked?
Well, I mean, I can be booked for as long as anybody wants me, from, before the ceremony. Sometimes I'm booked about half an hour beforehand when guests start to come and sit down and arrive. Just some gentle background music there. For when bridal party walk up the aisle, sometimes with flower girls, they'll have a separate piece of music for them. And then as the bride then makes her grand entrance, a beautiful piece of music handpicked by her as she walks up the aisle. For the signing of the register is normally 2. I always say pick 3 pieces as a backup, depending on how many guests there are and how many photographs are taken during that time. And then a really nice upbeat piece as bride and groom or the couple actually walk back down the aisle. Something really upbeat and jovial, and then a nice piece as the guests leave the ceremony area. I can then go on to be booked for generally about an hour and a half for reception drinks, either outside if the weather's beautiful, or inside, just to kind of keep guests entertained. And then wedding breakfast is again about 2 hours. So I have lots of different equipment, so I set up nice and early on the day. I can even perform for first dance, or cutting of the cake even as well, which isn't generally, what I actually do you know, as a general rule. But it is mainly ceremonies that I'm booked for. So I have different options. I'm generally could be booked by the hour, and it's just full performance time. So I don't charge for setting up or taking my equipment down, or kind of, you know, any in between waiting time or anything like that. It's just purely performance time. So which is good. Yeah, I have lots of different areas where I can be found on social media, on Facebook, Instagram. I've got a really good website as well. Yeah, so that's just, you know.
So what's the price? Do you mind? I don't know if it's enclosed. Is it unique? Is there a price range that it's from? Because someone's asking.
Yeah, sure. My packages start for the hour, which is the minimum time I can be booked for, is £295. And that is full performance time. So for say example of a ceremony, it's normally about half an hour. So I can either play half an hour as the guests arrive, and then as kind of once you walk up the aisle, sign in the register, and then come back down the aisle. Or the other package I offer for ceremony is obviously when you walk up the aisle, sign in the register, coming back down, and then the extra half an hour for reception drinks. So, you know, performing that way. And then each hour I can be booked after that, or half an hour. My fee then will reduce to £150 the hour, or £75 for half an hour. So I'm really flexible, and yeah, it's very bespoke, the service I offer as well. Because the couples will have the choice of music. I can learn their special, their particular piece that they love, that's their favourite, or get family involved as well with, you know, parents, grandparents even, or sometimes when unfortunately somebody's passed away and they want, you know, that relative to be included in their special day, I can perform a piece of music that might be, you know, one of the deceased favourite as well. So they're very much included in the day as well.
Yeah, no, I think the important part that people must understand that hour is playing time, as you say. So
yeah.
When it's broken up, that is quite a chunk of the wedding section there. So yeah, no, that's really good.
But I can go on to perform all day. I am booked, you know, I have quite a few weddings where people want me all day, and it's very diverse, the music. Yeah, and you know, I'm used to playing for long periods of time as well. So I've been performing ever since I was 7, and my business is, I'm now in my 11th year full time now, as with my business as well. So my arm never aches. I might get a few little blisters, you know, my fingers, but yeah, I'm used to playing for periods of time.
Oh, brilliant. We've got a question coming that we can all have a stab at answering. And we also have a Kate question, which I'll come to afterwards. But the first one is from Linda. She says, my son is walking me down the aisle. Any ideas on to help with his nerves, let alone mine? From my perspective, all I ever tell someone who I'm with right up until that last second is everybody in the church, in the ceremony room, is rooting for you. No one wants to see you trip. No one wants to see him. They are all on his side. He will probably know majority of them, and he's probably walked in front of them many a times, and not blasé it, but you've just got to put one foot in front of the other, get to the end, take a deep breath, and done. So that's my perspective, is don't forget everyone's on your side. And I'll open that up to Simon. You look like you could potentially be ready to say something.
Definitely, yeah. It's lots of people think that being on show is a difficult thing to do, and it is if you're having to prove something. But if you're giving someone away, no one's judging you in any way. They have no expectations of what you have to do. You can do what you want. No one's going to think bad of you. But all you know is you're just going to walk down the aisle, and as Andy quite right says, takes a big deep breath, done. That's it. But no one's there to judge you. Everyone there is your best friend. They are all your best friend, and no one's judging you. You're not on show. It's just you, your feet down the aisle. You're fine.
And I would actually say, don't overthink it. Some of my brides or couples would say, oh goodness, you know, should I be walking to a certain pace? Or I said, just go with whatever's natural, you know, whatever comes to you, and enjoy your moment. It's the time that, you know, you've been leading up to this special day, and it's your turn to shine as you walk down the aisle. Something really beautiful, you know, beautiful piece of music. So enjoy it and cherish every minute. So
yeah, definitely. Anybody else?
I would say as I said to my dad, that no one's going to be looking at you, they're going to be looking at the bride.
Yeah.
So he doesn't need to worry that much because everyone's going to be watching you.
Now the next question will be is how do you help my nerves? So cake question time that's come in. So obviously people are waiting to book weddings, so waiting to see announcements. What's the latest that they can come with you? So if someone's sort of sitting tight now, hasn't really planned anything and is getting a bit worried because they haven't been able to speak to anyone or do anything, when it all comes back to normal, how quickly can they come in, book? What's your availability like? What are they under?
At the moment, it's tight where people are postponing, but we've turned around in 2 weeks. They can book it within 2 weeks if we've got the availability. We had a lady the other day that cancelled from May, and she's moved it to July this year. We're already fully booked for that weekend, but I've taken it anyway because she's an existing bride, because you don't know if the other ones in July are going to cancel. But at the moment, we're doing, I'd say we could do it in 2 weeks.
I mean, the best thing to do is to give us a call.
Yeah,
speak to us on the phone, or pop in the shop. Shop's open. Pop in the shop. Make sure you got all the necessary, like the mask and use the hand sanitizer as you come in. Come and talk to us, and then we can do. That's the best thing to do.
We try and help everybody out. It's such a shame. A lot of people have been let down, and we try and step in and help them out. Because you feel sorry for them because they've all had such a terrible year. And everybody is waiting until the last minute. So, we do, there is only the two of us. We have been doing it for 35 years, which is why we look so old. but we try and do our absolute most, best we can to help them out. Yeah. We really do. Yeah. We're lucky. We haven't got the young children like some of you, so we can work as hard as possible. But, we'd do the best we can to help them out. But at the moment we can, I'd say 2 weeks normally, two weeks we can do it. I mean, obviously if they don't want fruit cake, because fruit cake has to be matured, and so we usually say on normal terms it's 3 months at least. But we can do them quicker.
Norman, Linda, what's the best place that people can see your cake designs, both current and past? Where's the best place? Either a website or come and see you?
Website, we've got a new website now, so it's updated a little bit more so than it was. But Instagram, I post every single day on Instagram. Every cake that we do goes either the next day. When people collect cakes from us, we ask them when they're going to be cut or given to the person. So I don't put them up or upload them before they've used. But weddings, website, Facebook and Instagram, I'd say, is the biggest thing. Instagram for us, because obviously pictures. And just come and talk to us. Because we're, that's the best thing. Yeah, we like face to face, because then we can work with them and it's nice to chat to them. So it's good.
Well, we've got cakes on display in the shop. We've got albums in the shop as well. If they want to see pictures of it, so come and talk to us. We're quite friendly. Yeah. We're quite helpful. We like to think we're quite helpful. We've been told we're helpful. Just give us a call.
We are more old school. We do like to talk to people rather than the emails. Because you can discuss more. It's nice. You
get a feel for people as well when they come and talk to you. So in the short, on an email, it's very sort of cut and dry sometimes, but we still answer them. We still answer the emails, but we always try and get people to phone us up anyway, or we'll try and call them back. That's the best way. Yeah, you'll get the right answers to the right questions then as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Instagram is the best way to go, I think, for us anyway. So,
yeah. Perfect. So, Simone, coming to you. Yeah. Don't know, just making sure you're still with us. I can't, it's a bit shaded. So, Simone, what have you seen that's the latest trends, the colours? Is there a favourite colour at the moment? Are people sort of asking for something in particular?
Well, the latest thing that a lot of people have been after it is a lot of natural things, which I'm making new lines up on, which will be coming in the next couple of weeks. So lots of foliages and like statement flowers, like a big peony or a massive rose, etc. All like hanging trailing foliages, but the number one thing that is quite big at the moment that a lot of people are messaging me about is a lot of the dried flowers that are heavily coming in with all like the pampas grasses and like these fan things that sound quite obscure, but it's all coming in. So it's very like 80s, and now it's like revamped and in the pastel colours. So it's like whites and greys and the pale pinks. But to be honest, it's new now, and I think it will probably take about another year for it to properly come through, because to be honest, all my brides, obviously I lost so many weddings last year to COVID and like rescheduling. Everything planned for this year and 2022 is still all very natural with the foliages and the blush pinks and the dusky pinks. That's just still major, but obviously, like I call it like bread and butter colours. You've still got burgundy, you've still got navy, and you've still got the classic designs that people want. So it's just really varied when it comes to flowers and the decor, So but yeah, we accommodate anything when it comes to rebooking the dates. I'm setting up 2 teams because we had to postpone so many weddings last year with brides contacting me. A lot of dates for this year, 2022, we're getting like double dates, and I don't want to turn work away, because when you see that like couples, you get like a bit of a connection, and it's like they're your friends as well, and they trust you to create their perfect looking wedding. So I'll be getting 2 teams up and going now as well. So that's another thing that I've had to come across since COVID is adapting. Yeah.
Perfect. Simon, just because I missed this first time round, Linda has asked, do you do the driving? Do you go out and drive on the days?
Occasionally. It really depends on what I'm doing. So obviously I manage and own the business, but because we've got a kind of a second band that does a lot of film and TV work, and that's kind of where I am Monday, Friday is on set and doing that sort of things. If we have availability, then yes, I certainly can and have done kind of the weddings, but we've got a team of full-time chauffeurs that drive for us, and the majority of the kind of the busy Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, we can have up to kind of 12 cars out on any one of those days. That's a lot of management and worry, but a lot of management. So I kind of bed myself down and have my ear on the phone for 12 hours, right from 7 in the morning, while talking to venues about times, and sometimes your good self family about timings and things that you'd like. Things change around and move, and that doesn't happen until every one of the classic and vintage cars are back at normally around 7 p.m. So yeah, my day is 12 hours top to bottom, because everything has to be prepared and then everything has to be wound down. That's one thing with classic cars. You can't just pop them away. Things have to be done and processes have to be sorted, and obviously we want to make sure all the brides and grooms are happy as well, and that has to be done. So yeah, I really enjoy them when I can, but it's not too often these days. But if there's a special request, and I've been very lucky and had special requests where brides and grooms have said, "You're a nice man, can we have you on the day?" Absolutely no problem at all. Good question as well. Thank you, Linda. That's very kind. Thank you. Great question.
Perfect. Caroline, what's the most popular song to walk down the aisle to?
If it's classical, it will probably be Canon in D by Pachelbel. That's really popular, or the bridal chorus as well. That's a little bit more traditional. Christina Perri, 1,000 Years. That was from Twilight. That's still really, really popular. Or a Disney piece, Tale as Old as Time from Beauty and the Beast. That's a very popular piece as well. So that's probably the most requested pieces at the moment.
Yeah, the 1,000 Years. Well, like yourself, you hear this music so often especially when we do the wedding videos, not so much the photos, but the video editor that I employ will have it playing on loop, and I sort of hold my head on like, I can't hear this one more time. I think the one for me with the year that broke it was Ed Sheeran, Thinking Out Loud, and I think I would Yeah, I would go as far to say that 90% of weddings that we did that year had that as their first dance song.
Or Perfect as well, Ed Sheeran.
That's what we nicknamed him, Perfect Ed.
But I still really like it, and I suppose where I'm instrumental, people hear it, and it's just different, you know. And I can play with all kind of backing instruments as well. So I can play with it could be a string quartet background, piano background, it could be a full orchestra. So I can kind of play around with some of the arrangements. So it does sound very different because I'm not vocal. So
yeah, funny enough, I done a huge Sikh wedding in 2019, and they had the Sikh drummers, and a violinist, and they done "Shape of You" by Ed Sheeran, with a Punjab version as well. It was insane. It was so good.
Yeah, I bet. It's just, and I love collaborating, you know, sort of sometimes I'm at wedding fairs, there could be singers or pianists, and sort of trying to get together with them and have a little jamming session there. And I've sort of, you know, paired up with a pianist as well. So yeah, it's quite versatile. You know, you get to know different people on the circuit as well. So yeah, but I primarily do play on my own, but not just acoustically, with background music as well. So it just keeps it more alive and more interesting, so as well, for people to hear.
Yeah, no, exactly. Norman and Linda, what's the biggest cake you've ever made?
Our own. And that was we did a 7-tier. So yeah, that was our own wedding cake. I think the biggest one we did 3 years ago, it was one that had fountains and the staircase. So there was 10 cakes in all, but it wasn't as tall. It just went wide because it had staircases and it had a fountain underneath it. Yeah. So it's about 10 tiers. So 10 tiers. And that was all cake.
Yeah, brilliant. I'd love to see a picture of that. Again, if you got one, you definitely should post that. That'd be impressive to see.
Post that,
our own wedding cake, we did take, we've done a replication of it, and we did start taking it out on wedding fairs with us. We had a little bit of interest for it, but obviously it took pride and joy right in the middle of the stand, where one of our others sits now, which is one of our most popular ones.
But I think the biggest ones we do at the moment are about 5 tiers.
Yeah,
I'd say that's that. You know, at the moment.
And that's a hefty cake to carry.
Well, you lead me on, Norman. You lead me on. So you knew what was going to come next. So you have the responsibility of delivering all the cakes.
I do, indeed.
So how many sweating moments have you had? What's the worst venue? Well, I think I know the answer to this, but what's the venue that sticks out? You think, oh my God, I've got to get it in there.
I think one time
I think Stockbrook Manor's not an easy one.
Yeah.
The bumps.
Yeah, definitely Stockbrook. Yeah.
I mean, the going leading up to it. I mean, what's one venue they've recently
That was
Crondon Park resurfaced, but they just went over the bumps, so the bumps are still there. So you have to drive at 2 miles an hour down the road. All the golfers are impatient, so you have to keep pulling in, letting them pass. But the actual worst one, probably for delivery, I would say, is Stockbrook Manor. You park at the bottom of the stairs. You've got that first flight of stairs.
That's Stockbrook, yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got to try and open the door because nobody will open the door for you. Then you've got to get up the stairs because the lift's not working. So that's probably one of the worst ones.
And one of the worst ones I gave him was a 4-tier solid rich fruit cake. So that was really heavy, and that was upstairs in Stockbrook Manor.
But I have on occasion had to call up my son to help me to carry these cakes because we obviously, because of delivering them, most of the cakes we deliver already set up, already made up. When there's a few cakes where we build on the site, but most of them are already finished at the shop. We drive around as slow as we can. I often forget as I'm driving. I get the hand gestures. I get the tooting of the horn and the burbles out the car window. But yeah. Some of them are a challenge, especially the golf courses, the country homes. They got the big long drives, the bumpy roads, the potholes. You know, they are a real challenge.
Yeah, now the driveway for Crondon Park, especially with saying that. No, I've been there so many times. I know exactly where every pothole is now. That I just avoid it.
Why they resurfaced that part of that road, I don't know. And they could have. I think they got a few people there on the cheap. I think to resurface that road. Yeah.
Brilliant. So Susie, what is the most popular prop that you own on your photo booth? What is the beeline item on the table?
It is the tartan hat with the red hair around the back. Yeah, everyone. I think we had to buy in like double the amount because everyone goes for that. And some people, they queue and they grab their props and get in the queue, so they don't miss out. So they're standing in the queue with the props on, ready to go and jump in the photo booth. So yeah, it's definitely the Scottish.
Perfect. And do you find you get invaded? Sorry, go on, Simon. No, go.
No, after you, mate. After you.
I was going to say, do you find you get invaded? Because I always see the inflatables being flown around the venue by the little ones enjoying themselves. Do you find you have to do a sweep up at the end?
Oh yes, definitely. We usually have to buy more inflatables because they always go missing. So we don't mind.
I was just going to ask Susie, what separates you apart from any other photo booths that people may or may not see unheard of? What's your ASP?
It's the packages that we offer. Obviously, not just the photo booth. With the photo key rings and the Ferrero Rocher stand added extras, mainly the photo key rings. The brides really like the fact that their guests are getting something extra to take away with them, and also it's their idea as favours. They say, oh, I don't have to think of a favour now, I can use those as favours as well. So it's really because we're offering that personal touch and that we care that their guests will use the photo booth. They're getting what they're paying for, and we provide that service, and because we're family run, it's that personal customer service. We have fun with the guests, and as soon as you walk into the venue, you can work out what sort of family it is, how they are, and you just adapt to that clientele. You know, most of them are very relaxed, down to earth. You can have a laugh with them, especially the nan and granddads and great granddads.
Simone, someone's asked. Oh, I've lost it. Where's the question gone? It was, what's the most popular flowers for I'm remembering this now because it's disappeared off the screen. What's the most popular flowers for bridesmaids? I think it mentioned the wrist corsages, bouquets. What's the most popular?
Okay, so you've got the classic rose. Everybody loves roses. Gypsophilia was quite a massive trend. Still is a bit now, but not as much. Everyone wanted like gypsophilia bouquets for their bridesmaids. But you've still got roses. The number one, I would say. This is all in fresh, by the way. Another fresh flower that is very popular is peonies and hydrangeas. That's always a number one thing that brides mainly want for them. Roses, hydrangeas, peonies, and then they'll go for little smaller versions, or just all jet bouquets for the bridesmaids. But like I say, a lot of people now are going away from that like compact, solid look of flowers, and they're wanting more natural foliages with like some statement flowers in there, like a peony and roses. So it's quite varied with the fresh flowers. And then because we do, like, obviously you can see I've got lots of artificial flowers behind me. Again, they're just mirrored like fresh flowers. You know, the quality is so good now with artificial flowers. I'd probably say about 80% of my brides do have fresh flowers rather than the fresh. Advantages that a lot of people have hay fever, so it's a win-win when you've got artificial flowers. You get to know exactly what you want. Colours can be exact matches. You can get the flowers early, so there's no stress on the day. Like if it's a baking hot day and you've got a bouquet of peonies or hydrangeas, there's a time on that, you know, for them to just wilt, you know, where it's so hot and they're out of water. And the beauty with artificial as well, what a lot of brides see is that they get to keep it. You know, they take it home, because fresh flowers, they do die in the end, but then you can't beat the smell and the actual feel and the look of them in a way. So, yes.
So man, what's the most popular artificial flower itself?
Oh, again, I would probably say a rose. There's always a rose in a bouquet with artificial bouquets. So I'm going to say roses is the number one flower with artificial, I would say. And then with fresh flowers, you can't beat a fresh peony, and the smell of a peony as well, and freesias, you know, and lily of the valley, that's another beautiful flower. The, you know, artificial flowers just can't make it look as perfect as a fresh. So yeah, there's pros and cons to fresh and artificial, you know.
Perfect. Just to give you a heads up here, Caroline, you're being requested to play us out, by the way. There's a lot of requests coming in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, amazing music. Can you play us something? So I'm just pre-warning you.
God, at the top of my head, yes, I can. When the time's right, just let me know and I'll play. I do a live on my Facebook, on my Music by Violin Facebook page every other Thursday, so you can hear me perform live there, and I do post videos and things on Instagram as well. I've got lots on my website, snippets of pieces as well. So
because you done a lot of nice stuff in when it was the Appreciate the NHS, wasn't it? On a Thursday you used to play. I know I used to
started probably April time and all through lockdown, and then I started to get weddings for a very short period when we could. So then I stopped it for a little while, but I've been doing them again for the last every other week for the last few weeks. So yeah, I keep popping up and making appearances and take requests from people as well. So yeah. Well,
it's just as well because the requests are flying in, and it's rock and roll violin, please, is what's coming in at the minute. So
okay.
people obviously know something I don't on that one, but yeah, because it's popular. Well, that's perfect. Okay, Simon, have you got any more questions? Because I've run out down the list.
Yeah, no, my last one's just for you, buddy. Then I think we'll go to any other questions for the whole group. But my question to you was, I've been in and around weddings for a long time, more than perhaps I admit to. I remember days when digital photography was a myth and science and witchcraft. Will there ever be a return to film? And do you offer film for those that want something a bit more vintage, authentically vintage?
Yeah, okay, so without waffling on too long, I started in film. So my entry into photography was as my grandfather's assistant. And the first wedding I ever did was carrying his bag and doing what I was told. And he was film, purely film. So we used to do the wedding, well, he used to rush back to Nan's house. I'd get a sandwich while he went to the dark room, developed. And then we used to go back and sell in the evening, and that was what we did. Used to be in the lobby doing that. It did come back. It is back. It is the most popular it's been since it left at the current time. There's a lot of fantastic YouTubes. I think I know of 3 or 4 photographers that have been employed to just do purely film. You've got to be, especially now with what's going on and time, it's the time element. You've got to be one very adequate and brave photographer to step into that. I would arguably say that I would, but I would also arguably say that it's so niche and unique that why would you want it in today's world? If I'm being perfectly honest, I think if you are if I was getting married again, I would definitely probably seek that alternative because I'm passionate about print. So it's a yes for me, but with everybody else, I don't know. I think we live in a generation now where social media is king. So I want to be able to certainly not just to put on Instagram, Facebook, but I also want my family in New Zealand to be able to see them in an hour, or that kind of mentality. So I think digital, obviously, what is the point? My point being, You pay someone a hell of a lot of money because it wouldn't be cheap. It'd be a lot more expensive than a digital photographer. You'd pay someone to come in, and then all you would be doing is scanning them into your computer to then send around to your relatives. So that's where I would argue the case of if it's needed. But no, as a hobby, it is massively back, and you'll be surprised if anybody has an old camera sitting in the loft, in the garage. Get it out, because you will be mega surprised how expensive they are. I've got one up in the loft that a collector's begging me for, but I won't part of it because it was my grandfather's, and it's more expensive than my current modern camera. It's mega dear. So yeah, go on to is it Cash in the Attic? So if you've got one of them, get involved. But no, good question. But yeah, it is very niche, film photography. But fantastic. I will say why I've got the centre stage in that sense. Get your bloody wedding photos printed in a book. Don't stick them in a disc. Don't stick them on a hard drive and leave them to collect dust. Because what I would say, and I say this to all my couples, is we have all in our time come across the shoebox that one of even ourselves or our mums or nans, my nan's is an old suitcase, in fact, and you'll flick it open and you find pictures, and you might be tidying up, you might be moving rooms, you might be moving house. You will waste 2 hours sitting there flicking through all these photos, going, look at this one, look at this one. Oh God, what was I thinking with my hair in this one? Right? If you in 10 years time open a drawer and find a USB, you'll go to, what do I do with that? What's that? And it's so true, so powerful. And you haven't got to come to people like myself if you're on a budget. Just go down to Boots when you get your pictures and just print the lot. Stick them in a shoebox and worry about them in 20 years time if you have to, but just bloody print them. That's my makeover.
Done. Love it. Argument made. Fantastic. Do we have any other questions for each other at all? If not, I'll let Andy take the outro, and then dear Caroline can play us out for a minute or two.
Just quickly, Simon, getting back to what Simone said about flowers, we find that as well, because obviously we make the flowers to go on the wedding cakes, and what Andy was saying, definitely roses and peonies are the big thing at the moment, and we sort of copy what florists do with their bouquets, so we can copy them. So I would say that is the biggest thing, roses and peonies, getting back to the question that was asked earlier. So yeah.
I mean, I think it's a bit of a bonus that we've got a shop only 3 doors away, because our brides like that as well. I've got to put that in.
Yeah, I must admit, when I have to do a flower that I'm not too sure about, don't I always pop down to Simone and get her artificial one, and I copy it.
Yeah, and you might give me some cake as well. But no, our brides do like it. Me just 3 doors away, and the same with you. You know, they pop to us both, don't they? If they like what we do and they like what you do. So yeah, it's a bit of a bonus for the couples to have two shops in one little street, you know.
Yeah, it's quite handy.
It is. Yeah.
It nearly become Wedding Alley.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did try and get you there, Andy.
It's a barber's now.
Yeah, we've got barbers.
Norm's all right then.
Yeah, he's all right there.
Perfect. So anybody got anything else? No. Perfect. So I'll give Caroline a heads up, and I will just sort of say goodbye to everybody now. And what I will do is I'll end the live after you finish, if everyone in the Zoom stays on, and we can say our goodbyes when we come off. But no, thank you for everyone who has joined in, asked questions and watched this evening. We are back on Friday, and I'll be putting up who's on very shortly this evening, for everyone to see and join in. And then after next Tuesday, we're going to Fridays only, because it does seem that that's a more sensible evening where people have got commitments with homeschooling, and we can sort of thin out the suppliers as well. So that would be fantastic. So Caroline, thank you very much for doing this, and I'll pass over to you, and thank you all for taking part. It's been lovely talking to you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I'm going to play another sort of really popular piece. This is obviously acoustic, so I'm not playing with any backing tracks. I have sort of normally play along with my Bose PA system, but I'm going to play acoustic for you. And this is Elvis, as we're nearly getting to Valentine's Day. This is Can't Help Falling in Love. we go.
Perfect.